Why Katy, Texas is the CRE hotspot right now. And Katy, Texas has quietly transformed from a quiet suburban growth corridor into one of the most active commercial real estate markets in the greater Houston area. And what was once considered primarily a residential expansion market is now attracting serious attention from investors, from developers, from business owners, and commercial lenders. And the combination of population growth, household income, infrastructure investment, industrial expansion, and retail demand is creating a powerful commercial real estate cycle across Katy and West Houston. And for investors looking for a long term opportunity, Katy is no longer a future growth story. It's happening right now. So let's talk about population growth and how that's fueling demand. And one of the biggest drivers behind Katy's commercial real estate growth is simple: people keep moving here. And master plan communities continue expanding westward, bringing rooftops and disposable income and demand for services. In areas like Ellison, Cane Island, Cross Creek Ranch, and nearby Fulshire developments continue attracting families, professionals, and business owners who are relocating to the Houston area. And retailers and restaurants and medical groups and service providers follow population growth. But smart commercial investors understand something even more important: that retail follows disposable income and not just rooftops, although they typically go together. And Katy consistently ranks among the highest income suburban areas in the Houston metro. And that spending power creates strong demand for retail centers, for restaurants, for medical office, for fitness concepts, for entertainment venues, for professional office users, and for service based businesses. And this creates an environment where well positioned commercial properties can experience strong leasing activity and long term rent growth. So, industrial growth is also accelerating. And industrial real estate has become one of the strongest sectors in the Katy market as well as the greater Houston area. And small bay, flex industrial logistics properties, or contractor spaces, or light industrial developments continue seeing strong demand. And that's also due to population expansion, but also the infrastructure growth and service company demand near rooftops. But the Houston ports activity and manufacturing expansion and continuing ongoing onshoring trends. And many investors are beginning to realize that Katy's location near major transportation corridors creates long term strategic value. And the key corridors that run through our area are Interstate I 10, Grand Parkway 99, the West Park Tollway, easy access to the energy corridor, but proximity to the port, and Houston logistics networks. And small bay industrial properties are particularly attractive because they serve a broad tenant base, from HVAC companies to electricians to plumbers to contractors to distribution businesses to automotive users and local service providers. And these properties often experience lower vacancy risk because they support essential local economic activity. And retail development continues expanding westward. And retail demand across Katy remains extremely active. And as residential communities expand, retailers continue pushing westward to capture growing consumer demand. And developers are aggressively pursuing grocery anchored retail and mixed use projects and lifestyle retail centers, but also restaurant pads and medical retail and entertainment concepts. And developments like La Centera and newer mixed use retail environments are reshaping how suburban retail operates. And today's retail wants walkability and visibility and community gathering spaces, but also outdoor environments and experience driven traffic. And this evolution is creating opportunities for investors who understand how consumer behavior is changing alongside it. Let's talk about medical and professional office demand and how that's growing on the west side. And healthcare expansion across West Houston continues creating demand for medical office and healthcare related commercial real estate. And as population density increases, demand rises for primary care clinics, for dental offices, for specialty medical practices, for physical therapy, for urgent care, for wellness concepts. And doctors and dentists are increasingly looking to own their real estate rather than just lease space long term. So this creates opportunity. So think owner user purchases or medical office development projects or build to suit projects. But SBA financing is fantastic for these kinds of deals, and healthcare investment properties are something that you could create long term. And for business owners, owning commercial real estate can be a long term wealth building strategy rather than simply just paying rent. So, infrastructure is supporting long term growth. And the infrastructure investment in the area continues reinforcing Katy's long term commercial outlook. With road expansions and more utilities and schools and healthcare facilities and transportation improvements continue supporting westward development. And this matters because infrastructure often determines where future commercial growth will continue to occur. And smart investors pay close attention to it. The road expansion for 1463, but also utility capacity and traffic patterns and school growth and planned commercial corridors, as well as mixed-use zoning trends. And the businesses that position themselves early often benefit the most as development catches up. So let's talk about why investors are watching Katy closely. And Katy sits at the intersection of several major economic trends. And Houston has strong population growth, but Texas is drawing business migration from other states. There's industrial expansion. There's a lot of onshoring of manufacturing. There's high-income suburban growth, as well as infrastructure investment. And retail continues to evolve on the west side. And this particular combination creates multiple layers of demand across nearly every major commercial asset class. And investors are particularly attracted to Katy because it still offers growth runway compared to more mature Houston inner loop submarkets. And in many ways, Katy represents the next phase of westward Houston commercial expansion. So, final thoughts for the day is that commercial real estate markets tend to reward investors who recognize growth trends early on. And Katy is no longer simply a suburban housing story. It is evolving into one of the strongest commercial growth corridors in Texas. From retail to industrial to medical office to mixed use and to service-oriented commercial properties, all of these are benefiting from powerful demographic and economic trends. And for investors, for business owners, and developers willing to think long term, Katy presents a compelling opportunity to participate in one of Houston's most dynamic commercial real estate markets. And that, my friends, is it for the day. Please visit my website, houstonrealestatebrokerage.com. You can schedule a consultation, and I'd love to have a conversation. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.